Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Matthew with Watty's channel. Today we are finishing off, maybe, with the my favorite WWF LJN manager tournament. This is the beginning of round 4. We are down to our last 5 figures. So round 4 is acting as the semifinals. I will actually push 3 figures forward to the finals. So we could get the 4th and 5th round complete in this video. But if this video surpasses 20 minutes, I'm probably gonna push the finals, the one-on-one or on-one matchup to the next video. But I'm conscious of your guys' time, and I'm sure there's some folks who want to see a different tournament now, so we could try to knock it out. Let's see what happens. So how did we get here to round 4? Well, in round 1, Jimmy Hart Orange defeated Pink Referee. Freddie Blassie Red defeated Elizabeth with Black. Brother Love defeated original Jimmy Hart. And Elizabeth Yellow defeated Paul Bearer. In round 1-2, or round 1 video 2, however you want to look at it, Mean Gene with alternate arms defeated Jimmy Hart Black. Mean Gene with Black. I don't know what the heck that even says. But anyways, okay, gotcha. Mean Gene with white and black tie. That does not look like tie. Defeated Mr. Fuji. That's the painted version. Bobby Heenan Black defeated Mean Gene with white and red. And Lou Albano, Purple Slick defeated Lou Albano, original. In round 1, part 3, Gray Heenan defeated Red Referee. Donald Trump defeated Lord Alfred Hayes. White Referee defeated Johnny Valiant Gold. And Vince McMahon defeated Shinjo. In 1-4, Heenan Elf defeated Heenan Red. Freddie Blassie defeated Johnny Valiant. Referee Blue defeated Mr. Slick. And Howard Finkel defeated Jimmy Hart with the black Nasty Boys outfit. And 1-5, we saw original Bobby Heenan defeat Jack Tunney. Vince McMahon in blue defeat Slick in white. And Mean Gene original and Mr. Fuji original moved on over Elizabeth original. In round 2, original Vince defeated Yellow Elizabeth. Blue Vince defeated Elizabeth with the black. Bobby Heenan original defeated Mean Gene with the white tuxedo. And the white referee defeated Mr. Fuji. 2-2 saw Mean Gene defeat Purple Slick. Mean Gene alternate arms defeat Howard Finkel. And Heenan Elf defeated Heenan with the alternate arms. 2-3, we saw Brother Love defeat Donald Trump. Freddie Blassie defeated the blue, and that's the original Freddie Blassie. He defeated Blue Referee, and Orange Jimmy Hart defeated Gray Bobby Heenan. Round 3 was only one video, and round 3 we saw Bobby Heenan Elf defeat Brother Love. Vince Blue. No, I take that back. Bobby Heenan original defeated Vince Blue. Freddie Blassie original defeated White Referee. Jimmy Hart Orange defeated Mean Gene with the alternate arms. And Vince McMahon original defeated Mean Gene original. So, the last surviving members of this tournament is going to feature Jimmy Hart, Vince McMahon, Freddie Blassie, Bobby Heenan original, and Bobby Heenan Elf. Alright, so let's pick our first matchup, which is going to be Freddie Blassie as he does battle against Orange Jimmy Hart. Freddie Blassie and Orange Jimmy Hart. Alright, so we are going to start with Freddie Blassie. First off, guys, I don't think anybody realizes how much I love this figure. Like, it is a real joy. If you're just simply looking at it as, you know, old man, classy Freddie Blassie, manager, Kane, you know, it's just a very simple figure, which, I forget I forget what they're called. I always call it, like, I call it glitter, or, what's that glitter they used to call it on the little, I can't remember the word for it. I remember Malcolm in the Middle and his mom, Bedazzled, that's what it was called. It looks like they always had the Bedazzled jackets. It's fun, I had to use Malcolm to remember that word. I don't remember Freddie Blassie. And in fact, I'm pretty sure I'd never seen Freddie Blassie in my life prior to collecting LJNs. But when I started doing my Royal Rumbles, when I, you know, first started this channel, and I wanted to get a feel and playability for the figures, this one was such an enjoyment piece. If this was an actual wrestler and not a manager, this would be right there with SD Jones as a go-to playable figure every time. You know, I'm bored, I want to wrestle something. This is super fun. Like, when I was doing Rumbles, he would exact a lot of damage in the matchup, and, you know, it would be a keeper. He would get some eliminations. I would actually keep him in there for a pretty long time. Why? Because I enjoyed using him, and I wouldn't want to get rid of him. But at the end of the day, I look at him in reality, and I look at him as the 70-year-old man that he is, so I'm like, I really can't justify keeping a 7-year-old man in this Rumble too long, so, yeah, eventually he's going to be removed from competition, but, excuse me, Freddie Blassie, if this is not a manager, and you're looking at him as an actual wrestler, perfect. Fighting pose is absolute perfection. I do believe Freddie Blassie is a top 20 action figure from LJN. The design may not be all there, but I mean, it's a regular, you know, regular suit. I mean, I have no problems with this. Just, you know, casual wear, great pose. The look of the figure looks amazing. I think Jack Tunney would have been better under this figure than utilizing a Mean Gene. I think that actually would have helped Jack Tunney go a little bit further as well. So this is an incredible piece. When I started this tournament and I was going over some of the figures who I thought might win or who had the strongest chances, yeah, I thought that a custom could potentially be my winner, possibly. Well, custom doesn't always win. I've had a couple where original figures came out, but looking at the main lineup of LJNs, not even customs, yeah, Freddie Blassie is on the top of my list as potential candidates to win the My Favorite Manager tournament. Remember, the My Favorite Manager tournament isn't just about the manager themselves or the person themselves. All of these tournaments, the My Favorite tournaments, are essentially figure first tournaments. So, if you're going off of My Favorite Manager, Elizabeth probably would have won this entire thing hands down. Shoot, man. I really don't remember any good guy managers, to be honest. Growing up, obviously Elizabeth with Macho Man. I mean, that was always given. But everyone else was like bad guys. You know, Virgil wasn't really a manager. He was, you know, bodyguard for $1 Million Man. You know, heel. Mr. Perfect and Bobby Heenan for Ric Flair as an example. You know, Bobby Heenan with all the bad guys. Jimmy Hart, you know, Nasty Boys were bad guys. Natural Disasters were bad guys. Dino Bravo, bad guys. So, Jimmy Hart was always annoying. I didn't really enjoy him. I didn't know about Freddie Blassie, of course. So, when I look at my LJN wall, and when it comes to managers, Mr. Fuji, Elizabeth, and Bobby Heenan are probably like the only ones that really, you know, stand out to me. Mr. Fuji, like I said, Powers of Pain, Demolition, Yokozuna, obviously is the first person I think of as far as who he managed. But good guy referees, I mean good guy managers, who really were out there. Sensational Sherry with Macho Man and Shawn Michaels, the $1 Million Man. You know, she bounced around from heel to heel, so it's not I'm not necessarily choosing my favorite manager. It really is who is my favorite figure among the managers or commentators or special guests that I've incorporated into this tournament. So, Freddie Blassie, this one I am absolutely crazy about, this Jimmy Hart figure. I love the original version, don't get me wrong. There are about 3 things I really enjoy about this figure. Yeah, his skin tone is a little bit darker, but what I like about that is on the original San Francisco Series 1 Jimmy Hart, and you look at the figure, right, his skin's a little bit darker than normal. So when, I talked about it during my original San Francisco reviews, they, I guess when they produced the figure, they made a dark-skinned Jimmy Hart. That figure's like crazy expensive, man. It's like one of my holy grail, like true holy grail items that I want. And the last time I ever saw one, I bid up to like $1,200 or $1,100, and it went for like $1,300. I'm like, dude, that's a damn mortgage payment. I can't do it. I can't do it. At $1,100, I just thought I was way overbidding, and I didn't, because I think it was like $700 at the time. I thought it might go for $900, and even then, I wasn't happy. Today, shoot, $900. If I saw it on auction or buy it now for $900 now, I'd probably do it immediately. So I like the fact that he's got that dark skin. It kind of reminds me of that original San Francisco release, so that's pretty cool. The graffiti on his jacket is so and so. I mean, not super, nothing that's like, oh my god, I'm blown because he's got some lines. No, what I like about it is the fact that he does incorporate. So this came from Harvey Snuts on Mercari, and this figure incorporated the Nasty Boys physically drawn. I don't know if that could be a decal, guys. I don't know if it's physically drawn or if it's a decal. To me, it looks like it could be drawn, but people do put decals on these as well. So either way, it doesn't matter. It looks great, and the fact that the Nasty Boys on the back, amazing. Jimmy Hart, he is one of the oldest people, not oldest as in, personal age. For me, one of the oldest people I can remember from wrestling. When it comes to wrestlers, managers, commentators, Jimmy Hart's one of those guys that's been around for as long as I've ever been watching wrestling. And yeah, my time of watching wrestling, I really got to put it between like the years of like 1990 to like 97. All those like pre-1990s things I used to watch. I don't know. At 3 years old, 4 years old, I mean, did I actually know what was going on? Understand what was happening on TV? I think a lot of those memories come from like later on Coliseum home videos and stuff, and I've gone back and watch those matches, and that's why certain matchups, like WrestleMania matches or Survivor Series matches, why I can remember them is because they were part of this collage of different matches and stuff. This is a great figure. I really love this figure a lot. It means a lot. I think I am going to go with Freddie Blassie still. As a playable action figure, he is like an SD Jones for me, and one of the more easier and enjoyable figures if you're going to have yourself a little squash match. Of course, if you're basing it off colors and design, yeah, I mean, this is lights out better, but Freddie Blassie, to me, he was one of those guys I thought could win this tournament when I decided to make this tournament, and seeing him now in the bottom 3 is going to be amazing. Well, you've got down to your last 3 figures. Don't need to draw anything because we already know who they are. So the fact that you got 2 Bobby Heenans and a Vince. So we will start with Vince McMahon. Every time I look at this figure nowadays, all I could really think about is how the stupid hand is fused to his chest. I always thought because, he's LJN, he's 8 inches, it's a different story than when you look at the 4-inch Ron Simmons. But every time I look at this figure, that's all I could look at, that's all I could think about, is that comparison between Galoob Ron Simmons, which is my most hated wrestling action figure of all time. And now, I don't know. I'm thinking original San Francisco with Macho Man, because he's just got that little small, thin, scaled figure with his hands on his hips. That one might actually be worse. But I think a lot of these figures that, stand 8 inches because they're a little bit bigger, it's more enjoyable. But, and also take in consideration Ron Simmons is like this, where he's nothing more than an elbow drop. At least with Vince McMahon, if you're using him as a wrestler as a kid, or nowadays I've seen people use Vince as a wrestler, and he's still a punch guy, under or over body slam. He could do his little clotheslines and whatnot, so he's still an enjoyable piece. You could still easily work with this guy even with one arm, so that's something. Vince McMahon is, as I've said many, many times in many videos, Vince McMahon is childhood for a lot of people, and regardless of what's going on in the real world today with some of his issues and allegations, I like to think of the Vince McMahon from when I watch wrestling. I don't want to think of him as the owner. I definitely don't think of him as a wrestler. I just think of him as a commentator, or either at the desk with Gorilla Monsoon or Jerry Lawler or something, and commentator, interviewer. That's how I like to see Vince McMahon. I thought Vince McMahon was probably like the nicest guy in the world, and you hear all these stories and it tells you that it's 100% reverse of what you thought. That sucks. Does it change your opinion about the action figure? It really shouldn't. Bobby Heenan, I've said, when I looked at those figures, Bobby Heenan was on that list, and Freddie Blassie was on that list of managers I thought 100% could potentially win this tournament. Seeing 2 Bobby Heenan figures in the final 5 is amazing. And I don't know. You would think that if 2 Bobby Heenans were in the last 5, why couldn't the other Bobby Heenans win, right? If they're the best, they should be with the best. But I think it's all about matchups. I think that's what it all boils down to. So, a tournament like this, every tournament, I say the same thing. These tournaments do not tell you who your top 2 favorite are, who your top 3 favorite are, top 5, top 10. The last 10 standing is not necessarily your top 10 favorites. It's all about matchups. Now, if your winner wins the last matchup and wins the tournament, that tells me that winner should beat everyone else, regardless of who the matchup was against. But, because the gray Bobby Heenan from Rob Jackson, that variant, or that custom's probably my favorite version. Bobby Heenan, absolutely despised him as a child. Love him as an adult. Respect the hell out of him. I respect the fact that this is a great man. He was just playing a role, and he played the role to perfection, and he created one of the greatest stables of wrestlers of all time. I always compare a Bobby Heenan stable to the 1927 Yankees. I need to upgrade that to like the 2016 Cubs, because the Cubs were a dynamic team as well. But you think about guys that fell under the Bobby Heenan rule. Andre the Giant, obviously being the big one. Big John Studd. King Kong Bundy, right? Rick Rude. I believe Dino Bravo, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure Dino Bravo was on there. Mr. Perfect and Ric Flair, of course. So, this guy just had some of the most important people ever. I kind of look at the $1 Million Corporation as not hooligans, but kind of like your Bad News Bears type of deal. Great wrestlers that just couldn't put it together. But Bobby Heenan, he just had all the most amazing talent, and the way that he was able to interview and talk a good game on the mic was impressive. His banter back and forth with Gorilla Monsoon, I think that's even better than Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura going back and forth. I just think that this guy's lightning. When I talk about top 4 favorite commentators, I mean, obviously Bobby Heenan is, one of those top 4 favorites. Manager-wise, knowing what he brought to the table, is he my all-time favorite manager? Probably not. Not talking about, action figure, of course, just talking about real life. But he's definitely up there. And in all honesty, when you start thinking about different managers, really, who could I put above Bobby Heenan? And that's a tough one because I don't have an answer. Bobby Heenan is the Scott Boras of managers. Scott Boras, he takes the most average baseball player and gets them $200 million contracts. So, I don't know right now. So, between these two, I don't have an answer. So, let's look at our number 3 and final member, which is the Bobby Heenan Elf. The one thing I've craved about this figure since the very beginning is I've dived on how much I enjoy the uniqueness of the figure. There are not too many Christmas-themed action figures or customs out there. And this was done so well. And to an extent, it's kind of, it looks to be resin, right? But when you squeeze the legs, the hands move, it is a rubber figure. But the way that they went over it with the glossiness and with the glitter, the way that they were able to build on all these different accessories, the little top part of the boots, or excuse me, the bottom part of the pants, excuse me, and then you got the hat in here as well. The way that they're able to mold that stuff on there, this is a fantastic piece. And I have argued many, many times now how I feel like if I've redone my favorite LJN tournament, does he defeat Bruiser Brody? I honestly, I don't know. I really love this one a lot. I'm going to try and fit this into one video, guys. I'm going to try and put the semifinals and finals in one video. So, with that being said, I don't know who wins this match. If it boils down to it, if I wanted to do a wrestling match right now and I wanted to wrestle Bobby Heenan, yes, I'd go with the original because it's an intended for play. And it's a perfect play pose, great play pose, awesome look. I don't think I prefer this version over this version. Even though, no, you're not going to play with this figure, he's going to be display purposes only. He's just too unique and too fantastic, and such a great theme. I mean, I'm a huge Christmas buff, right? I love Christmas, and, great holiday, it just brings a lot of enjoyment. So, I could say Bobby Heenan is better than Vince McMahon. Let's forget about that, though. If you go into the next round, if I already know that this Bobby Heenan is not going to defeat this Bobby Heenan, then we might as well just eliminate the one that I know probably will not win this tournament. But even though Bobby Heenan is out in the semifinals, here's the thing. You still have Bobby Heenan in this tournament. So, with that being said, here are your finalists. What time we at, guys? We are at 25 minutes, guys. I lied. I am not going to do the finals. I know. I know everybody's probably at their computer and TV throwing popcorn at the screen, calling me names. I said if it went past 20 minutes, I wasn't going to do them in one video. And I don't want this to be a 40-minute video. And I think it's probably going to take me forever to decide who I want to choose. But going into the last round, going into round 6, Was it round 6? Yep. Going round 5. Going into round 5, these are your finalists. Put in the comments, guys, who you think is going to win. Is it going to alter my decision? I think I have an idea of where I'd like to go, but that doesn't mean anything because I said I'd like to go this way many times and it just didn't work out, so. But I want to hear your guys' opinion. Alright guys, I just got a message saying I'm running out of space on my computer, of course. So I'm going to end the video here. Hope to hear from you guys and talk to you in the next video. Goodbye everybody.